Thank you. And I think you received in your bulletin today, you had 2 copies, 8.5 by 11 sheet that is white in Korean. You believe I did that, didn't you? Thanks to young Ben very much for translating. And then the blue half sheet. You'll notice that. So you have the white sheet, 8.5 by 11, and then the half sheet of the blue one, Service for the Healing of Human Hurts. I want to read through that with you in English. And it says, Jesus encouraged and invited us according to Matthew 11, 28 through 30. Now this is taken from the translation called The Message by Eugene Peterson. We could have used the King James Version, the New King James, NIV, such. But there's from the Message. This is the verses. Remember about in the King James or the NIV it goes, "Come unto me, all you who are burdened and heavy laden, and I will give you rest." Someone said, "I will give you zest." That's good. But here it is. Here's the question. Here are the verses from the Message. It goes like this. Are you tired? Are you worn out? Burned out on religion? Come to me. Now this is Jesus speaking. Get away with me and you'll recover your life. I'll show you how to take a real rest. Walk with me and work with me. Watch how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. I won't lay anything heavy or ill-fitting on you. Keep company with me and you'll learn to live freely and lightly. Wonderful. Now, those are the words of Jesus. Here we said we invite you to come before God and ask His help. That's at any time of the day or night, 24/7, 365. We do not come and demand that God heal in the service or any time. We don't demand and say, "God, you have to heal." Well, that's God's deal. But we come open what He wants to do. Now, but that we're open to what He wants to do in and through us. And then you see there's a place for your name, your request or request. 1 request, 2, 3, you may have them. And then additional requests. You may pray, you may want us to pray for somebody else. And when I say us today, we will not violate your personality. I don't want anybody coming up to me and embarrassing me, or if they share something that I didn't want them to share, I don't want them to tell people. But the thing is, if you come today at the end of the service with your sheet and you say, you want me to pray for you, I will do that. Or if you want the whole church to pray for you, that's fine. But I will pray for you, but I won't pray so that everybody can hear. That's your request before God, and we honor that. I won't violate your personality. I don't believe in doing that. Then, after the service over with, we destroy the sheets. That's between you and God. We want to share that much with you as we began today. Now, we read from Mark chapter 1, verses 40 to 45, correct? Okay, here's a man with leprosy. But I want to ask you a question today. What one thing would be a real answer to prayer for you this morning before God? What one thing would be a real answer to prayer? Now this is very serious business. What one thing would be a real answer to prayer this morning? Something you desire for God to do. It may be directly for you. It may be for somebody else. It may be what you need to have happen in your life. What do you want to ask God for? Well, the scenario is we've read from Mark 1, 40 through 45. Now, we live in a crazy world. It's a very stressful world. In fact, there was an astronaut by the name of Susan J. Helms who went to the International Space Station. And it's best of my understanding, I hope this is correct, but at the best of my understanding, she spent 6 months. Well, she was there, and it was a far different way of living. I mean, the lack of stress helped Susan J. Helms, the astronaut. She said, sleep like a baby. And then when she came back to this earth, then someone said, Susan, welcome back to the real world. I mean, it's 24/7. You don't get away from it. I mean, stress and anxiety and tension. And we have 24-hour news. It's just like last evening. We turn on the news channel, or we want to get what's in Indianapolis, but we want to hear about what's over in Champaign-Urbana. How's it going over here at the weather? How's it going the weather today? And so we can get it, the flooding, the tornadoes in the south part of the United States, and what's happening today. And so it's 24 hours. You can get it around the clock. Well, the terrorism, the war in the Middle East, unceasing stress, little girls and children abducted from their homes, corporate wrongdoing, or whatever it may be. I mean, there's plenty in this world to keep us awake. Some people say, I have a hard time going to sleep. And somebody said, why do they show the late night shows after the news broadcast? And I won't mention maybe your favorite one or your lack of a favorite one, but after the news, then the late night show. And they say, why do they have that on with humor and all this? Well, maybe there's so much stress in the news, they want to lighten up a little bit. I don't know. Well, I think of if you lost money in your pension fund in the slump of the stock market, or you were probably furious at the actions of certain CEOs and corporations, depending if you had money involved in those. And when we think of Bernie Madoff and Goldman Sachs, and then even Martha Stewart got caught up in it. She spent some time in jail. And then we think in terms of what really galled many people was that the CEOs of many of the companies responsible for wrongdoing, they just seem to be unfazed by the problems of what we would say would be the common man in this situation. Well, I think in terms of those involved in scandals, they may be the CEO of a company, but they build $1 million home or house. Or in fact, another one, the company filed for bankruptcy, but they continue to work on this guy's $15 million estate or mansion, still associated with them. Or maybe, in fact, people lost their severance pay. Maybe when their job was downsized, they said you're going to get 2 weeks of pay, or a month of pay, or 6 months of pay. And they said on one company, well, this is all cut out. Your severance pay is all cut out. And yet the guy still has, the head of it, still has a $94 million estate. Well, someone continued onward. Why is all this so grievous? It's because of sometimes executives, what they did to their employees and their stockholders. And do the people at the top of great corporations, do they care about people at all? Maybe we would say people at the bottom. So a term came into existence several years ago about downsizing. Well, when we say that about downsizing, it means trimming back. It may be a business or school said, well, we've got to lower the budget, and it seems like the school systems you read in the newspaper and magazines and on television having to lower the budget by several $1 million or a number of $1 million. And so sometimes teachers' jobs are eliminated, or they may say, well, all the employees had free lunch, but no more free lunches, no more lunch provided, the perk. And some companies gave employees 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks of vacation, but you'll get 1 week, if that. Or maybe just the jobs are dropped. Well, there was this food chain rather. 63,000 employees. You see, downsizing and to get lean and mean. And what happened was they studied it and did a survey, and the fact of the matter is the suicides and attempted suicides and divorces and broken families